do that on purpose. I do that on purpose to make sure everybody has a chance to get on and things, because lives are that kind of a thing. All right, let me do my obligatory posting. Just there. Let's see if that there. Let's see if that actually popped up. Because sometimes I'm curious about whether or not it actually does. There. Just see. Oh, what is this? That's not what I'm looking for. There we go. We're live. Excellent. Cool. Back to the regular share situation. We are live. Hit the like, hit the share. All right, got to do all the things, because if you don't do all the things, you won't see all the things. In case you didn't know. All right. I'm going to get on to see if yep, W, I am live. Today is W. Let me say a good greeting. Oop. Greetings all. All right. So just to, now that I've got everything set up, kind of, sort of, I'm doing a recap. This last third of our Bushcraft A to Z will be, we'll have a lot of recaps. We'll do everything that we've done so far to, in a sense, inspire friends, family, anyone else that's in the Bushcraft family to that have grown in their knowledge, grown in their skills, and have something of value to share. I believe that in lots of ways, the given community doesn't share enough. So that being said, we're scared of, I don't know, online trolls or something. But if by chance some of you out there are thinking that it's not possible to have a single thing, one A through Z, I've got it. I've had this for years. I've only just now started to pull the trigger on it. Because that's part of me too. Because there's a great part of me that thinks that no one really cares about what I'm bringing to the table. I'm going to continue to bring it to the table because we have 4 more weeks. This one plus 3. Wait, is that 3? Yep, that's 3. That's my favorite 3 right there. We've got this week plus 3 more, and we're done. We've gone through every single letter of the American alphabet. I think that's pretty cool. Today is W, and we will be covering weather. Weather is one of those interesting things. Weather will turn a bushcraft situation into a survival situation quick. So you want to be careful of that. And to know what to prepare for is just one of those things that makes it you're either prepared or you're miserable. You're either prepared or you're miserable. That's the way life is. I've been needing some warm tea today Today's topic is weather. Uh, there are four categories of clouds. Everyone, I hope everyone understands this, at least has been taught the water cycle, whether evaporation, accumulation, rain, or other precipitation. Evaporation, accumulation, precipitation, evaporation, accumulation, precipitation. Um, but I would say let's look at it from a Bujinkan martial artist's point of view. If you've been in the Bujinkan for any length of time, uh, it started getting very popular in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Um, and in America, in the Western world, is comprised of 9 different martial arts that go back to antiquity, um, during the Edo period of Japan. I don't know the exact numbers, but the oldest of the 9 arts, the Togakureus, is traceable to, I think, around 900 years ago. So old. Now, one of the cool things is one of the weirdest, paradoxical, wonderful things that Bujinkan is a part of is that, um, we brag about our tradition, like we come from an old place, like this. You think about these old warriors and how they trained and what they did, and um, most people, they fall into one of two camps. Either they're so proud of, or three camps. Either they're so proud of the tradition that they focus on the tradition to the exclusion of everything else, which means they're gonna start following this thing called Takamatsu Den, something like that. It's just or they pick some other older time and focus on that. Then there's the other extreme, which they completely, I will say, throw out. They don't throw out anything, but they don't. The other group completely modernizes the traditional techniques and such, so that to for its purposes, to like, one good example is the inclusion of techniques that utilize the same concepts and the methods and things like that, but applied to a different uh, weapon. So we use what they call taijutsu, body art. We use, you know, ichimonji is the name of this one, uh, from the waist up anyway. Um, and it's also a rifle hold. Looking down the barrel. So there's ways in which you can modify what has been traditioned, what has come from before, so that it applies to today's world. And those people on that extreme, uh, I promise you, we're kind of come full circle. There's just a lot of backstory. uh, on this other extreme, oftentimes they'll throw out almost all the tradition. They don't work the tradition, or it's minimized in some way. Like their training minimally includes the traditional techniques and tactics, and or not tactics, but the techniques and the forms and stuff like this. So you've got these people on both sides, the Takamatsu Den, and then you've got the Toshindo. I've got a little stuffed nose. I apologize for anyone of Toshindo listening. I pronounced it wrong correctly, just now. So they got Takamatsu Den, which is the previous to the second removed Grandmaster of the 9 arts, and then you've got the modern Toshindo, which is in a sense kind of broken off and started doing their own thing, even though they all come from the same from the Shinriki, Masamitsu Toda, all of those kind of gathering together type thing. And the Bujinkan is the name of the organization that oversaw most of the training coming up. So they're kind of like the in between. They're the humans of the Tenshijin, Ten Chi Jin. So heaven, earth, man. I apologize. Can I do this? Can I? Maybe. No, not that way. I need to do it this way. Not that one. That one. Apologies again. So anyway, that's some of the history of the perspective we're going to look at when we look at weather. It ties into weather in the form of what we call the Godai, which are it's called the five greats, or the five elements. Sorry, the five greats, which is earth, water, fire, wind, and void. Now, we won't be working much with void in this case, but we'll work with the four elements below that, which is earth, water, fire, and wind. So you might think, well, we're talking about weather. The only one that really applies is wind. Maybe, well, there's water, right? Precipitation. There's earth, which is the land and the land formations. Clouds and mountains kind of don't always get along together very well. So we'll focus on fire. A weather expert that I know personally, we've had some deep discussions, and one of the things I said, what do you know? Like, if you were to boil down and get the essence of all of your weather knowledge, and to be honest, to clarify, he was a weatherman for the United States Air Force, so they need to know about weather. So I said, of all that you know, what would you boil down and just get the essence of this, of what you know, to be useful to anyone that, like, if you were to say one phrase, two phrases, and you could tell this phrase to anyone on the planet, and they would understand not only what you're talking about, but also how to apply that information in their life to make it better. And he came up with this little thing. It says that weather is energy. And when weather moves, it's the energy of that weather that's making it move. So if you think about pressure differences, pressure is just how much atmosphere is in any given location. And it's always in reference to another location that has a different pressure, either higher or lower. So atmosphere is just the mixture of gases that's above land. Oxygen, nitrogen, everything that's in our atmosphere, which includes the stuff in this room. You breathe atmosphere every day. So think of that from that point of view. You breathe atmosphere every day. So you've got the air, everything above the land is gas or water. And sometimes it's gas and water, because water vapor becomes lighter than air and then rises up. So then it accumulates, which is why we get the name of the name of the cloud called cumulus. It's Latin for meaning pile or heap. And when you look up and you see these puffy clouds that look like, to us, popcorn, we call them popcorn clouds. But the Latins, they had no idea what popcorn was. Corn was not a thing. It was in the Americas. Maize. So they understood from a different point of view. It looked like things were being piled on top of it, or itself, and it looked like a pile, so heap. Then you've got the stratus clouds. Stratus is Latin for, it's like layer, but kind of like blanket. So that's the blankety clouds. Those are the only two clouds that you've got, aside from one more. These are the basic two. Okay, so you've got low cumulus, mid cumulus, high cumulus, low stratus, or yeah, stratus, mid stratus, high stratus. You've got nimbus clouds, which are the only kind, that's the third kind, the only kind that are grayish in nature. And they may or may not produce rain. Light gray, dark gray. You've had overcast days where no rain came down, so it exists. Now, there's another one that does not, there's another form of clouds that does not follow those rules. So if Earth's gravity is pulling on everything, which includes the atmosphere, the gases and water droplets, and, or gaseous liquids, vapor, it's pulling on those things too. And the closer, just like any other magnet, the closer you get to its source, the stronger the pull. The further away from Earth you get, the thinner the air. Because the rest, what of all of the stuff that is 100%, most of it's being pulled down close to the Earth. Okay. There are layers. Interesting how this works out. There are layers of pressure differences, pressure concentric rings coming out from the Earth. 3 main ones. And the weirdest thing is, there are clouds. Like, say there's a forget the name of it. There's names for low, medium, and high that you tack on to cumulus or cirrus or stratus. Cirrus. To indicate low, medium, and high. So if you've got one that's a cumulus cloud and it's in the low band away from the Earth, it's not going to go high. It's that one cloud clump. If it doesn't touch any other clump, it's going to stay in this area. Same thing goes for a clump that's up here. It's not going to, unless it hits another clump and gets heavier, then it'll come down. But by itself, they'll stay in these regions. There is one type of cloud, cumulonimbus. Get my language right. Cumulonimbus is the storm cloud. If you look at it, if you can see it from a distance, the bottom will be a little wide. It'll come up. Let's see if I can get some angles here. There we go. It'll come up like this, like a reverse hourglass. Oh no, yeah, like the clouds are in an hourglass. It's going to come up. It's going to be wide bottom and then come up to have a center and then come out. And they call that an anvil shape, which makes sense too. Anvils have a wide base, come up with a little center line, and then they come out. Then there's a horn here, and then a flat spot on the other side. So they call that cumulonimbus. Nimbus just means rainy, or that's what you should equate it to when you see the word. If you're the weatherman says nimbus clouds, thick dark clouds, cumulonimbus clouds, storm. You look at what happens is if you find yourself, if you haven't looked at the weather like you're supposed to before you go camping, done it too. If you don't look at the weather like you're supposed to before you go camping, you can look up at the sky and tell kind of what the next 6, 12, 24 hours is going to be like. If you see popcorn clouds, this is kind of almost basic knowledge, but not really codified. Everyone knows, they look up at the popcorn clouds and they're like, pretty day. If you see any cloud formation moving fast, it may be a pretty day for now, but it will also change. Same thing goes in reverse. If you have overcast clouds and they are moving fast, that overcast won't stay. Traveling. So you'll see me, like if you know me in real life or whatnot, you'll see me every now and again. We'll be outside and I'll just stop and look up. The thing is, because it's such a great distance between where you are on the planet and then where the clouds are up in the sky, you have to stop and pause for a good long time. You have to go here, stop, and just like position your body stationary and your eyes fixed in a single location, and then you see the clouds passing, because it's distant and slow. Because even 70 miles per hour that far away will take hours before you go from here to there, just because of distance. So take that into consideration. You've got the configuration of the Earth, the topography, right, of hills, valleys, pockets. You've got the temperature of the Earth, which is actually where the energy comes from. So weather is energy. It's temperature, and it's the fact that temperature changes that gives us our weather. That makes more, like the hotter the weather, the more water evaporates. Right. The higher you get out into space, the colder it is. Now, yes, you're closer to the sun, but the sun's not doing anything important with you right then. The big thing is that there's just no heat out in space. So that being said, temperature of the Earth is colder where there's water. It's kind of an insulatory thing. For the longest time, our nuclear plants were cooled with water for that same reason. Now, you have Earth, you've got water, you've got the gaseousness of the air, and then you've got the temperature differences of all of it. There's your fire. And understanding how all that comes together to form what you've got going on right now is it's an understanding of a different elemental system called the Gogyo. You may have, if you've been on this or heard anything about me talking about any of the other elements, you've heard me talk about that as well. The Gogyo is a process, and the weather doesn't begin. The weather doesn't end. You always have weather, all the time. But anyway, I'm going to open it up for any questions. I haven't done that for most of the point, but then again, I haven't been as well organized. So if you have any questions, type them in the chat, and or at least say hi. Tell me hi. Tell me, hey, what's up, yo, dog. And it's for any type of question you can ask about the books and back, or whatnot. What the contest is out, and I can open up the contest prize and show you again. It's been a while. Actually, I might as well do that. Let me do that. So you get this. The contest is actually in the show notes, the description of all of these videos. So you'll know. There's not very many days left, and we do have a leader, but he's only leading by, I think, one, maybe two. The most people, the most times someone guesses the next one, so you, of course, you can't do W, but you can do X, Y, and Z, will get this prize. This prize will come with this little dollar store first aid kit, because it's a boo-boo kit, because I will be giving to anyone 18 and above this carving kit. So we'll talk about this for just a short second. Now it's this kind of came to me this way, and that's not terribly good, but not terribly bad either. Now here we go. I don't know if this is important to you, but Bushcraft, made in Ukraine. Bushcrafttools.com. And what you will get is, and the cool thing is, they give you band-aids. So you get this nice little triangular leather pouch. Okay, stitches here. There's a couple of buttons. This comes up. On this back flap here, you'll have just a piece of leather, just a rectangular piece of leather, and it is designed to be a strop. Strap your knife blade on. So that's in the back on the lid there. Let me aim this down a little bit. There we go. A little bit. So that's in this thing right here. You'll also get a little bit of stropping compound. You rub it on the rough side of the strop here to get a little extra roughness. You will also get this little knife with this protective leather cover. Let's see if I can, here we go. Backdrop of my shirt there. So it's just a blade cover. Bear that in mind, because you've got a carrying case anyway. Why not? Just leave it as it is. And you will also get this little item. So this is a hook knife. So it shows, it looks kind of like it's bladed on both sides. This side is not bladed. You grip it and then you hollow out the bowl shape. You can make spoons, small bowls and cups with this. Take a lot of work to make a small bowl and cup, but you can do it. And it's got this nice little I don't want it to touch anything because it is sharp. Got it. Ready? Snap it on the back. There we go. Snap it on the back side. This will wedge itself in. And there we go. This was some extras that this is what you get when you go through one of my carving classes, and this is actually provided as part of the equipment. You don't bring your own equipment. It's the price of this is built in. So of the price of the class. Then you just snap there, snap there, throw this in your pouch or pocket, in your backpack, whatever, and go playing, go camping and do some carving Spoon carving. A lot of people, they ask, why would you carve a spoon? You could just buy one. Dollar Tree has them for $1 and they're metal and not wooden and all this other stuff. Well, I don't do it to get the spoon. You don't carve a spoon to get the spoons. That's kind of like fishing to catch fish. A lot of people do fish to catch fish, but a lot of people don't. They don't fish to catch fish. They fish to fish. It's a peaceful, self-care, peace, kind of thing. But anyway, that's what you get if you can guess X, Y, and Z. Oh, that's a good one. We don't have much longer to go. Sometimes I give out clues to the next one. I'll give out a clue to this one. The next one clue is, I'm going to say, pay attention. Pay attention. That's your clue for next week. For X. Just pay attention. Well, I don't know what to say now because we are at that junction, that interchange, where it is time to start a new thing. You can't start new things without ending the old things. So, as always, get lost, but never lose your way.